Hey, what's going on, my friends? It's Dave Sharpe. Welcome to Wake Up Legendary. I'm in a little bit of a different scene than I normally am. As you can see, I'm walking around outside, hanging outside my backyard here, which is excuse me, which is like my sanctuary back here. I really like it back here. Maybe I'll do more Wake Up Legendaries from back here. Anyways, today we have an amazing guest, as we normally do, and I am so excited to talk about marketing and life and everything with her. Please bring our guest out. Hi, Molly.
Hi,
How are you?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm fantastic. I am excited to talk to you and learn about how you decided to get started with us. Uh, Talk to us about where you're calling in from and a little bit about yourself before we jump into things.
Yeah, so I'm from Western Canada. I'm not too far from Vancouver. Um, yeah, and so I'm originally from like Central Canada, but I've been out here about 10 years, and I wake up and look out my window and look at mountains, so I'm not going back. I'm not going back.
Nice. I love that. So, what moved you? What attracted you to Legendary Marketer? What were you looking for when you found us?
Yeah, so I like my background is in retail management, and that means shift work. It means working holidays, weekends, late evenings. And when I had my first baby, I had to go back to work, and it was only for like 6 months because I was pregnant with my second one when I went back to work. But it was horrible having kids and missing bedtimes and missing weekends. And my husband and I had it like planned out so that like I had Thursday, Friday off, and he had our child on Saturday, Sunday. So like we never saw each other. And I just knew like second time around, I didn't want to do this. I wanted to be home with my kids. And in Canada, you get like the choice of a 9, 12, or an 18-month maternity leave. So we're very lucky. But it is capped out at a certain income. So you don't necessarily make that much while you're on maternity leave. But I was fortunate to take an 18-month leave with my youngest. So it gave me a lot of time to figure out like what I wanted to do instead of going back to work. And
Mm.
kind of like most people's journey is that they saw someone on TikTok sharing how they're making 5 figures a month. And I was curious. So I looked into it, and here I am.
Here you are. Wonderful. Um, so, do you like what you've experienced so far, and what has been the big aha moments for you?
Yeah. So I was I was definitely very skeptical in the beginning, but I
Sure.
was like, it's a $7 training. I'm just going to go into it with a positive mindset. And like, if I learn something, it was worth $7. So that was sort of my like mindset of like, if you're still going to be skeptical, that's okay, but see what I can learn from it.
Yeah.
Um, and I definitely took my time with it. But I think it was like, for me, the biggest aha moment was just like seeing, like, seeing that it's possible, but seeing that you don't have to work 8 hours a day, 5 days a week to like seeing how that comes into play. Like you don't have to work 9 to 5 and work 40 hours a week, and you can still be successful, whatever successful is to you. So that was my biggest like, okay, this is great.
Had you never had any experience with or any exposure, I guess would be the better word, to making money that wasn't trading time for dollars?
No, I had
This was your,
looked into like before like my maternity leave ended, I had looked into doing like UGC, and I was kind of curious about it. Wasn't for me, but and not that I made money with it, but yeah, I have always spent my time to make my money. Yeah.
yeah, yeah. Well, I mean, that's pretty common here in the United States is kind of be a good little boy, be a good little girl, get good grades, graduate
Hmm.
high school, go to college, and it's pretty much the cookie cutter path for every person. Is that also the way it was growing up in Canada?
Oh, it's 100% the same, and it's funny because I think you like even at 18, you still feel the pressure to go to college or university, even though you have no clue what you want to do. So like you go into general arts and science, and that's what you graduate with, and you end up in retail management because you're like, I don't know what I want to do at 18. But it's very much the same. Yeah.
Yeah. Let's go ahead and put Molly's link up and share so people can follow and connect with her as well. Awesome. Molly, the affiliate mama. Awesome. Are you blown away by how many people that are also, you're finding that are also in the same place that you are, looking for the same things, and are now even in this community moving in the same direction? Are you kind of surprised by how many people are on this path? What are you surprised about? If talk to us about what, finding this community has been like. And I remember for me it was like kind of, I was like, is this like the underworld? I was like, but because these people all looked like everybody at coffee shops, schools, colleges, retail shops, but they didn't want to trade time for money. They were talking about freedom and marketing and leverage and all this kind of stuff. So what's it been like to be around a bunch of people who are talking and thinking like we do?
I think once you once you take the trading and you kind of start getting immersed in that world, it actually isn't so surprising because I'm an average everyday mom. Why wouldn't we all kind of think the same? So I wasn't super shocked that people want something different. I was just shocked that there is something different. And I think that's where people get stuck is like, oh, I don't have to do this. There are other options. And I can have time freedom and financial freedom. I think maybe the biggest thing I would say that surprised me is how supportive the community is. Like, it's not a saturated market where everyone's like fighting for their chance to make money. It's like everyone is so supportive, and the legendary marketer affiliates group, if you have a question, everybody has an answer for you. And just to have that support and know that I feel like we're working together, like we're a team.
Yeah. Yeah. And it is a very nice, not judgment-free zone here at Legendary. You know what I mean? Like
Definitely.
there's not, and obviously that, that starts with me. I mean, if I was up here judging and talking down and being condescending and everything, that would kind of permeate throughout the community. I've been in communities like that where people did do that, or leaders of, gurus, this and that. But I found that obviously that doesn't motivate me. I found that doesn't make me feel safe and comfortable to be around and fail. And I want to be around people that I can make mistakes, I can fail, I can wake up and, be a little under the weather and just be on my, I'm not 100% right now. I've had a rough couple of weeks with my father being in the hospital and everything else. And people are just supportive of me as well. Don't have me up on some ridiculous pedestal, and I'm not putting myself on a pedestal either. How important do you think it is when people are thinking about who they want to learn with, who they want to learn from, and it's not even about if you want to just learn affiliate marketing, it's anything, to really be extra careful about the communities that you do get involved with, because everybody is, I've learned here, and I'm sure you are now too, out on the internet, that everybody doesn't have your best intentions in mind. How are you, what advice do you have for brand new people to kind of stick close to safe people, to people who have your best interest in mind? And how are you beginning to pick out the, or what words of a warning could you give to people that, you honestly really can't trust everybody out there on the internet? I mean, do you agree with that? What would you add to it?
What would I add to? I think it's important to have boundaries in this business. I know that probably sounds a little interesting, but you will never.
We
see
love boundaries. That's not
right?
it. We love boundaries. So
in
please.
all facets of life. You'll never see my kids, you'll never see my kids' faces. That is my boundary. And my goal is to keep them safe. And so that's definitely one. And I think when you're connecting with people that are interested, like, I think there does need to be boundaries of like, what I'm here to teach you and tell you about. And yeah, I think my biggest word for that would be boundaries.
Yeah, so it's easy to get distracted with various different conversations out on the internet, and I like that. Stay focused on, this is what I'm here to talk about, and that also, I think, keeps us on topic when we're creating content too.
Totally.
It's like, I used to, at the beginning of my affiliate marketing career, really weave in so many aspects of my life, and I did too much. You know what I mean? Like, I didn't need to do all that. I could have kept it more what's in it for them, instead of trying to, again, self-disclose, talk about my story, tie my story into every single piece of content. How are you finding that you're most comfortable creating content, and what type of content do you most like to create?
I feel like right now I kind of have a mix of like side hustles, ways to make money online. I'm trying to do like, the nurture, the sell, the growth. I'm trying to find a cadence with that and a balance with it. And I like to throw in just like me talking to the camera about things, sitting in my car or sitting on my couch, and I have a video about like why I think affiliate marketing is great for people with ADHD, because I was diagnosed with it in my 30s.
Ooh,
And so
me too. Let's talk about that.
yeah, I honestly, like, it's probably an unpopular opinion, but I feel like if Legendary Marketer did a poll of like everyone who had ADHD, you'd see that there was like a high amount, because I think it's a great business model for people with ADHD. So
Well, here I am. So, I
yeah.
mean, squirrel, hold on a second. Hey, what? No, I can't. Yeah, I can't. I mean, flies, I'll be at the dinner table and see a mosquito, and next thing I'm chasing it around the house. I mean, it's a problem. So, what are the tools though? What is the awareness that you have? How have you managed your ADHD in a business like this, where you really can chase a million different rabbits down a million different holes,
um True honest answer, I'm still trying to find that balance, but I do find it's like I have to sit down and make myself focus and like write the list of like kind of what I want to achieve this week, and like what kind of content I want to put out. And it's like, if I'm doing 3 bits of content, I want to write out like what I want each to be, and then that way, like, if I can make a bunch of content in one go, great. But if I'm sort of on the fly with kids, I can make those videos as I'm going throughout the day. But I do try to like have a written out plan of like what I'm going to do for those 7 days to keep myself on track.
Yeah.
And then I see something shiny and I'm like, oh, that video would be really good, or this one.
Well, it's the big moves that get people in trouble. It's like the closing down what I'm doing and chasing like a whole nother business model. Or, sometimes we're scrolling on social media and it's like, oh, register for this webinar. And then the next thing, we're signing up for another course.
Yeah.
And we become overwhelmed and start to feel kind of almost, start to get down on ourselves, beat ourselves up, shame, embarrassment, whatever it is, because some of us, me mostly, I'm speaking about myself, didn't realize that I had some of these shortcomings, that I had, that this was actually ADHD, that this was actually anxiety. I just thought everybody felt this way, but they don't. We all have our own individual kind of makeup, and I've used all kinds of little things. The most traditional things for my ADHD have been probably the most useful. It's not getting too obsessed with apps in like digital technology to try to keep me in line, but more kind of physical, old fashioned things like post-it notes, like physical lists, um, looking at my number one priority for that day, not even like making a list, like just making my number one priority for that day. What's the biggest thing, the most important thing that I need to accomplish that day? And then doing that. And a lot of times there'll be little branches of that big main tree that I can kind of work on, but ultimately I'm getting that one big thing done each day. And that's been incredibly helpful because when, I used to pull up to the desk with like a list, it was hard to like pick what I wanted to work on. You know what I
Mhm.
mean? Until I started being like, okay, there's things on this list that are like 80-20. 80% of this stuff is going to have 20% of the impact. 20% of the things are going to have 80% of the impact. And so then I started just really focusing on that one big thing per day. And that may be useful to some of you, others it may not. We have to find what works for us. How have you used that? It's kind of like creating content. We see a video out there, it's like, yeah, I want to remake that video. That looks like a video that's doing well. We have to put our own spin on it. The same way that we have to put our own spin on how we show up to work and our productivity tools. One app that keeps you organized may make me crazy, right? How do you keep from getting into comparisonitis with others and feeling like you need to keep up with the internet Joneses?
It is hard, and I think everyone can attest that like they definitely get stuck in it. I think one thing for me is like to stop being a consumer of like TikTok and Instagram or whatever, and to like use it to put my content out, see, look at some reels, comment, build your engagement. But yeah, it's like for me, it's like stop when you have spare time, stop scrolling TikTok all the time because you do start comparing yourself. And I think the other thing too is like looking at like I have still like no I'm not Caroline and Becca and like they've had amazing results and like they've worked so hard, but I've also had great results for me and I've achieved what I came to do. And when I start achieving more, and it's not an if, it's when, it will be like that will be amazing. But I can't compare my journey to theirs because we've done it in completely different ways and I have achieved my goals so far. So I'm not succeeding. So
Yeah.
I have to like, take a step back and remind myself when you get stuck scrolling and you're like, oh, but they're doing this and they're doing this, and remind myself like you've done what you came here to do.
Mm. Yeah, the scrolling, the kind of mindlessly scrolling with the reasoning of I'm doing research or whatever like that, can be tricky. Our own minds can play tricks on us, and we can also lose a lot of time scrolling. It's
So
like
much.
so it's like our this business that we were doing now all of a sudden, it's like, okay, where are my boundaries with myself? Where are my
Yeah.
boundaries with myself? That's one of the first places that I started to learn where I needed to set boundaries. Not so much with other people. Let me learn how to set boundaries with myself first. It's hard though. It's really hard because the phone is right there and it's
So
like a go-to thing. And it's like, so I just want to tell everybody out there from me personally that I have not found the answer to be totally, you know, disciplined with what I tend to do. Me personally, when we come home, I tend to um, grab my phone and put on some music in the house via Sonos, so I have other things that are stimulating my mind. Obviously, I have young children, so when I walk into the house, they
chaos.
it don't matter what I'm doing, what I've had going on during that day. It's they are glued to me and I love it. So that's something that helps me. The music, setting up Sonos and having music going on. So there's something else that's stimulating my mind. Obviously, engaging with other people. Do you have anything that you use with to help you to have boundaries around your devices and so forth? Maybe when you're with your family or whatever.
Yeah, I'm still kind of learning what that, because like I'm home with my kids all day, like it
Yes.
is easy to be like I need a quick break, I'll just spend 10 minutes on TikTok. So I am still working on that
And
because
you probably deserve it. I mean, for God's
I
sake.
deserve some sort of break for sure, but I'm like, is TikTok the healthy one? But
Yeah.
but when like my husband gets home, we do try to be very like, you're home, it's time for both of us to be with the kids. We only have so many hours till bedtime, because he only like he doesn't get all day with them, and I don't get all day with him either. So I do try to focus. My husband also has ADHD. It's a great household here, but his trick is he puts on like the ambient space, like the music in the space on YouTube, but it plays on the TV and throughout the house. And that's how he kind of clicks in and can focus on the kids. So that's his little trick, but mine
He and
is
I are
just,
alike. Like
yeah,
that's
he
really
loves it.
that's a real thing, people. I mean, try it. Like if you're looking to break away from, like, get a little break from your phone or start to set more boundaries, personal boundaries with your devices, so you can have more separation, so your mind can have more relaxation, so you can really just step away from your business. Unfortunately, our business, in many respects, happens on our phone, on our devices. So it's we can work from home. It's totally doable. But what I found is the separation has to happen somewhere. So it has to happen with my devices and kind of giving me a break. And I'm telling you, putting on music, I just have this thing with having music in the background and Sonos getting. Now I've done that too. I will do that too. Hook it up on the TV, play ambient music or whatever on YouTube, you know. But having that background music in the background, and I'm going to tell you one thing, folks. It also is really helpful when you're working if you have like study lo-fi beats or chill beats or relaxation, piano, jazz. There's all these different non-verbal, it's just acoustic or the music, you know, behind the words, no words. It's so helpful to not only help you to focus if you need to do that with work, but also maybe you work better quietly to then transition to relaxing, to put on some music and just engage one of your senses in kind of take your mind off it. How else, Molly, do you what else do you do to not be totally consumed with this? You know, when I first got started, I was totally consumed with it. I was obsessed. I was excited, right? So how much do you talk about it with your husband and friends and family, or how much have you sort of kept it to yourself?
Yeah, so I mean, you're right. Like it is, especially when you're starting, it is very exciting. And I feel like being a stay-at-home mom, it's even like a little more exciting because you're like, I feel I have a purpose, and like it's taking care of kids is a purpose. My kids are amazing, but I have a purpose that like isn't just taking care of my kids. And so like it is very exciting and it is very consuming. I think for me, it's just like I really don't want to work when my kids are awake. They're 3 and 2, so they are very like they're very demanding. They need so many things. So like
I have a
I
2-year-old. I know.
yeah. So it's a fun phase, but yeah, like it requires so much time and energy. So I wake up before my kids in work when my kids have naps and quiet time, which I am very blessed. My 3-year-old has quiet time, so like I get time to work then. And if I didn't get that done, then maybe like when they go to bed, I'll do a bit of work. But really, I try to focus on working when my kids are sleeping so that like I'm not sitting there on my phone and I'm not taking time away from them. And I really can't anyways. It would be a very like half effort.
It I get it. I get it. So how did you approach your husband? What did that look like, and how has that gone? How have you solicited his support? How you know
Yeah.
what's coming up for you?
So that's it. A great. Yeah. So throughout the years, I've always come to him and been like, I'm going to do this. I'm going to do this. Like I've changed my career path. He could probably tell you it's been a lot of times. So, and I've spent some money on some courses in trading my time, or not trading my time, but changing my career path. And it was all for hourly salary jobs. And so when I started this, I was like, okay, I'm going to create a business plan and I'm going to come to him because I want him to see that I'm serious and I'm not just like, today I'm going to try this. So he was like for weeks like, what are you doing? Why are you always upstairs working on these things? Like, why can't I see? And I'm like, when the time's right, when the time's right. So like I sat down and I gave him a business meeting and I explained to him like what
Loved it.
I'm going to be doing and that I'm going for it. And I was like, give me 3 months. And like, if I haven't been successful in 3 months, I'll give it up. But Yeah, I'm still doing it.
I love that. I love it. You can't. It was almost like you were wrapping his Christmas, but you can't come in this
Totally.
room.
He was like, "What is this elusive thing that you're doing?" I'm like, just wait, just wait.
Yeah, yeah. So, how did so that work, like that approach, like was he receptive to that? Because I think a lot of people are hesitant, to and more as well. Like, hey, like, was he receptive, or and was there any specific besides the hey, give me 3 months that you felt like really helped him to see that this was important to you?
I think my first answer was like, "It's not OnlyFans, okay?" But he, I, I think he was. I mean, he knew I was like working on something, and I was like, I'm like, yeah. Sorry, I think I lost track of the question, but he is just like helping him understand like this is how I want to contribute, and like I'm working on something, and like I know it seems like what is she doing up there, but I just want to send it to you when I'm ready, because like I acknowledge the elephant in the room of like, listen, I'm the dreamer, and like I've come to you with a lot of ideas, and I've asked a lot of money in the past for this. So it was kind of just acknowledging that like this is a pattern, but this is why this is going to be different, and like
That's key. That's super key. You didn't lose track of the question. You answered it just as it needed to be answered, and that is that you acknowledged you acknowledged your patterns. You said, here's what I'm sure that you see. Here's how I'm sure you've experienced me. And that is so validating to a partner, right? When you're asking for, not asking for money, but when you're saying, hey, I'm going to spend some of our money and I'm going to take some of my time, which is our time, and I'm going to put it over there. Let me acknowledge the fact that I know I've done this before. I know I'm a dreamer. I know that I've asked for, or done or chased dreams before, and some of them haven't worked out. And that is regardless of what you do next, that is so helpful in a relationship when you're starting something new, to really let the partner feel safe, that you understand you, that you know your limitations, or maybe how even they might be feeling about this new venture that you're doing, which is maybe some anxiety and maybe kind of like some, oh no, here we go again, lost control. Like, partner entrepreneurs, it's not easy. It's not easy. That's what I found. It's not easy. It takes a special person, right? And one other thing that I started doing was, instead of at the beginning, I just wanted my wife's love and support, and sometime later I switched gears, and instead of saying, can you support me? I need you to support me more. Why aren't you supporting me? I would go to her and say, I know I'm not as present lately, or I know that I've been wrapped up in this, or I'm traveling, or I just went to an event, or I'm going to go to an event in a week, or whatever it is. How can I make you feel loved and supported? It just changes the whole dynamic of the relationship, from only me, or it feeling like it's only me that's taking time away from the family, taking money away from the family, chasing a dream, to now, yes, I am taking, but I want to acknowledge that I'm taking. I want to acknowledge that I'm chasing. I want to acknowledge that I'm dreaming. And I also want to ask you, how can I make you feel loved and supported as I take us on this, right? And changed the game for me. Um, so where are you going now, Molly? What's next? What's the next thing that you're working on? What, you've overcome the fear of getting on camera, right? Have you also gone live? What Okay, so are you dialing that in right now? Kind of, if you could describe the phase that you're in right now, how would you describe it?
Yeah, I mean, I feel like I'm still kind of in my growth phase, but I think like now that I've been doing it and I've been working on my content and like, you know, I've built my funnel and, you know, I've had all that stuff done. I think it's just like fine tuning and continuing to kind of nurture. You know, I'm still focused on like this niche and promoting what I'm promoting right now. But I want to keep building on that. And then as my time opens up, as my kids get older, I plan to like bring on more things. But right now I'm sort of just looking at growing what I've got going on, because I do have young ones at home, and I love what I'm doing. So it's just kind of, fine tuning and growing.
Yeah. And I like that. You know, it's really it's really amazing how big you can build just an affiliate business, you know, promoting other people's products. You know, I mean, it's mind blowing. For my entire life, I thought that if I was going to ever get rich and own a business, I needed to invent a product. Did you ever feel like that?
100%.
Like I needed
And you
to
look
be
at
an
like, I mean, you
inventor.
look at all these baby products that like make so much money and you're like, why didn't I think of that? Right. Like it's always about like, I should have created something. And like, yeah, I think that's why people struggle with this like business model, is that like, you don't have to create something, like you just promote something. So
Yeah. And we immediately turn to, well, oh, but it's so like hard to create content, when we could totally switch that mindset and say, well, at least I don't have to create a product, right?
100%.
There's always a glass half empty and a glass half full way to look at things. How would you explain your journey through getting started here as an entrepreneur in terms of your mindset?
Honestly, like you just have to like stop thinking that you can't do it. Stop thinking that like I mean, it's like we talked about before, like with comparing and stuff. Like you have to go into it with the mindset of like, I will be successful. I will achieve my goals. And you need to stop like comparing yourself to everyone else, because yeah, you'll go crazy and you'll always look at someone else's results and think that like you're not doing enough. And you really have to like dial back and look at like what are my specific goals? Are they too big? Do I need to like bring them down? And like, do I need to achieve my goals in like smaller bite-sized pieces to like, you know, get that going? But it really is your mindset. And I think when you're in a like, I mean, you see people comment all the time, this is a scam, and everyone has their negative opinions. And yeah, if you're stuck in that mindset, you won't achieve anything. So when you open your mind and you have that positive like mentality of, I'm going to put this content out and I'm going to be successful, it will come.
Yeah, it is quite a shocking thing, or I guess it's shocking and empowering. But when you go through, learn the information, see all of the different ways that money is being made online, all of the different various ways, not just affiliate marketing.
There's so many.
I mean, this is the tip of the iceberg. This is the one of the easiest, simplest ways to get into making money online, is just selling other people's products. And simultaneously, through doing that, you can create multiple streams of income. There's people inside of our community that have, as we teach, multiple follow-up products, or they're promoting multiple products. You know, now the platforms, Facebook, Instagram, YouTube's always done this, is paying us to put our content onto the platform. So if you have a video that goes viral and gets a couple of million views, that may end up being worth $10,000 or $20,000 to you. And that's exactly how it works over on YouTube, and how it's worked for a long time. Do you feel more empowered now that you can see those various ways, and it's not such a mystery anymore? In now, when you see those people who call scam, you realize that it has nothing to do with you. It really is truly their mindset and their lack of information and exposure to this information.
Yeah, I think just like even going through like the 15-day training and then obviously applying everything and up to now, like as it all unfolds and like you learn more and you've absorbed more, yeah, like you can really see, like you do see that shift, because like I feel far more confident today than I felt when I started. And that's like always my advice to everyone that has questions about it, is that like just take the course and like just finish it. And like there'll be a few days when you're like, what did I get myself into? And you're overwhelmed. Of course, like it's impossible not to be overwhelmed. It's something totally new, but just like continue, go through it. And then like when you're done the course, work on your funnel, start putting content out. And like it starts to come. And maybe like everyone's journey is different. So maybe it takes you a month to figure it out. Maybe it takes you a day. Like it's just that you need to like continue and go get through the process, because like that's where it all starts to come together. And it's not necessarily in the training, but the training is so pivotal to learning the rest. But once I've been able to apply it, I'm like, oh, okay, like it starts to come so much better, like faster.
I love that advice. If you're feeling frustrated and you're feeling overwhelmed, keep taking action, because it'll make sense as you put it into practice. It may
Yeah.
not make sense in the videos. And then you can think about somebody who has no exposure to this, and they're calling scam out there on the internet. For me, you almost can have a little bit more compassion for those people, right? To be thinking about how miserable do you have to be out on the internet trying to pee on somebody else's parade, who's simply just trying to better themselves, make some money, share some value. And we start taking it less personally. At least I have over the years. It still stings when you see it. It never feels good when people say mean things to you. Amount of training you can take that's going to say, oh yeah, it feels so good when somebody calls me a scammer. You know what I mean? But you realize that these people are in a tough spot. You got to be in a really tough spot. You got to be in a crappy place in life to be hanging around the internet commenting on people's random TikTok videos, right? So I love that. And if you're going through the train, it's not making sense, keep going through it and then
Yes.
apply it. If it doesn't make sense in a video, it'll likely make sense in real life, because you'll have it right there in front of you and you'll be working through it. So often we start the training, we get overwhelmed, we don't even continue because for whatever reason, we feel like it's just going to be too much. When the truth is, each one of us has the ability, the skill level to be able to do this. Each one of us. Now, each one of us may not have the confidence, right? But each one of us has the ability, right, to do this. And so, any tips around confidence, and how have you seen your confidence grow over? What are you not afraid to do now that you might have been afraid to do it during the time when you were putting out your first video? Just talk to us a little bit about fear levels and confidence levels.
Yeah. I would say when I first like was getting ready, like I put off for a month, like to start making videos, because I was just like, I'm not ready. I can't do it. I'm not confident enough. And then I finally just did it. And I think to go back for a second, is with the training and everything, is everybody has a different style of learning. And so like maybe some people watch the video and if they absorb it, it's great. Some people have to apply it. And so like for me, it was, yeah, definitely putting it into application was where I start to see. But yeah, I did postpone like my launch date for myself of like
Yeah.
putting videos out, because I was just like, I'm just a mom, like people don't want to see me talking, like it's, what if my friends see it, whatever. And honestly, like it's just keep doing it. You just keep putting video. Maybe you do some trends that make you laugh and they totally flop. And maybe like I made a video when I had TikTok originally. I made a video about like the human microbes, like getting paid $180,000 a year to poop. And I was like, oh my God, what have I done? But like it got like 400, and I think by the time it got to the top, it was like 675,000 views. And it's like, just try different things, try and see what content feels right to you, what content works, what your audience likes. But just do it.
Yeah. What what question haven't I asked you before we wrap up that um that maybe would bring out something useful or valuable, but I haven't asked it? What else could you share with people about your journey and your experience before we wrap up that would be helpful and that was helpful for you to hear or for you to know or would have been helpful for you to hear? If you could, and maybe you did hear it. But what would be helpful, do you think, for somebody to hear today that you haven't said, or even something that you want to reiterate before we wrap up that maybe I haven't asked the question to spur the answer?
Yeah, like I think my thing is just like I am just like an average everyday stay-at-home mom, and like I think a lot of moms can relate to like how expensive daycare is, and I just want to be home with my kids, and so yeah, like if the algorithm is bringing you these videos, it's probably because you're looking for them, and so take the time and like listen to what these videos coming up onto your For You page are saying, and like do some research. And like that was how I found out about it, was like these moms that were making money, and I didn't want to pay. It was going to cost me $3,000 to put my kids in daycare, which doesn't leave a lot left over. So I just, yeah, like if the algorithm's finding you, like seize the opportunity, do your research, look into it, and like try something new, and don't be afraid. Like it making money online is so, people are just, they're so off put by it. We are so, like you said earlier in the beginning, like we're so conditioned to work a 9 to 5, and life just doesn't have to be that way. And I don't think people are always accepting of that yet. And so like just embrace something totally different and give it a try.
I love that. I love that. Molly, it's been a pleasure. I know that you're busy, so I'm gonna let you get back to your wonderful life with your children and of course your husband and your business, right? And
Yeah,
this new
thank you
kind
for
of
having me
venture that
today.
you have. Oh my gosh, it's been great. It's been a pleasure. And please come back and see me in the near future and keep us posted on your journey, will you?
I will, absolutely.
All right, cool. All right, my friends, thank you so much for being here. It is an honor every single day to interview a student, a client, a friend from this community, not a guru, not somebody who's been successful for 30 years or somebody who's speaking on stages. We're not looking to book the guru guest list here. We're looking to talk to people who are going through our training, who are implementing it, and who are inside of our community. And so it's just a different vibe here. And as somebody asked yesterday, is there anything except, stay at home moms in this community? Or nurses, I think was the other one that she said. There absolutely is. We've done nearly 700 of these interviews. So you can go back through and you can listen to old episodes that still have absolutely fresh and relevant content. Because as you can see on these interviews, we talk about real stuff, not fake stuff, real stuff, the stuff that you actually need to hear to develop your mindset, to develop your confidence, and to continue moving forward with this, right? Not overwhelmed, not new strategies every single day, not a new idea every single day. No, a push to keep doing what you're doing until it gets results. That's how success is created. And that's why we go live every morning. So if this is not a part of your routine, please plug it into your calendar and be here live with us every morning. And strive to potentially be a guest on the show. I would love to talk to every single one of you. I have nothing but days out into the future to book people into the show. Now we're booked quite a bit in advance, but you get the point. So my friends, no matter what you're feeling today, know that you're not alone. Somebody in this community has felt it. Somebody in this community has overcome it, and you can too. We'll be back tomorrow for another episode. All right, get out of here. Have a great Thursday. Peace.